Do you know my chambers?
Thank you so much for staying tuned. Well, you just heard that it's a live studio. Anything can happen. On the discussion segment, we'll take a look at the delay in the ministerial nominees list. Questions arising. Nigerians have been asking questions, why this delay? And of course, there was a jab thrown at the Senate president. Are you now a yes man too? The president said, no, I'm not a yes man, but things must be done decently and of course orderly, because I like his administration, his style of leadership and all that. And of course our president now said, look, I want to be careful. I don't want to be in a rush, all right? I'm going to appoint or send the names of those persons I know. Yeah, just to paraphrase and stuff like that. And Nigerians are asking, you mean the ones in your previous administration, you don't know them? You get to hear the case of Adeosun. You get to hear also of some other names that Nigerians are raising eyebrow. Is that what the man is trying to prevent? Well, my analyst will be the one to throw light on that particular discourse. And of course, if time permits, also we'll dive down into what is happening in the national minimum wage saga, the compliance of government. There seems to be hitches here and there. Some are complying, but what about the spread across board? Why some other states, they're not even thinking about it, they're not talking about it? What do you think Labour would do? With me here in the studio to do justice to this discourse, I have Obaraye Osahon. You get to hear put food on the table, good leadership, bad leadership, and all that. Obaraye, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, brother Wilson.
All right. And of course, sitting close to Obaraye, he's a Labour devotee. And we talk about national and international affairs is well grounded. Johnny, welcome, Money Mike Modesty to our Money Mike. Welcome to the show, sir.
Listen, good morning.
I appreciate your coming.
Yeah, thank you so much.
All right, and sitting very close to me is a legal practitioner. He is a politician, a political analyst, both local and international politics is well grounded. Join me to welcome Barrister Nusa Adams. Welcome to the show, Barrister.
Thank you, and a good Sunday, a happy Sunday, Nigeria.
All right, so here we are. Tongues are beginning to wag. What is going on? In our president's previous administration, it took him a couple of months to say, yes, this is my minister, these are my ministers, all right, members of cabinet. And Nigerians were in shock when he says, look, those ones you saw, some of them or most of them, I don't know them. Right now, I need to be careful. I have to appoint those people I know. Hence the delay. Nigerians, please bear with me. Barrister Nusa Adams, take it up from there. What do you feel about all this?
Well, thank you very much. Let us start with the enabling authority. The Nigeria Constitution 1999 as amended, I think it's section 147, gives the president the power to appoint ministers for the country. Ordinarily, one would expect that by the provisions of that, by the extant provision of that very section 147 of the Constitution, the president will act swiftly after his swearing in and send the nominees to the National Assembly for confirmation. But unfortunately, that very section of the Constitution that empowers the president to send ministerial nominees to the National Assembly or to appoint ministerial nominees is solely just it's just suggestive. It's not compulsive. So ordinarily, the president is not compelled. There is no compellability on the part of the president to send the list of ministers as quickly, as fast as what Nigerians will expect. But if you look at subsection 6 of that very section, it says that the National Assembly should do whatever they have to do with the nominees so sent by the president. And if after 21 days and there is no return, then the list or the names of the nominees will be deemed to have been appointed. But there is no compulsion on the part of the president as to when and the time frame with which to send the list or to appoint the ministers. And these are the lacunas we talked about in the Constitution. And because of this lacuna now, the president, in his usual characteristics, is capitalizing on this lacuna to delay, not put into consideration the yearnings and aspiration of the Nigerian people. Because what the Nigerian people expect today is a president who is so action-oriented, a president who will always listen to their demands, a president who will be so prepared to hit the ground running, because Nigeria today is in their need of a system that will work. The way things are now, things are not working, and virtually everything the president is doing is taking it as if typical of what they call him Baba go slow. Because of that, he is not even ready, because the sensibility of the Nigerian populace is what the leader should be looking at. And we are all saying, immediately you were sworn in, unlike what happened in the first tenure. You immediately inaugurate your executive, hit the ground running. Let us know those to be held responsible in the various ministries and departments, so that we can get on properly and get moving in this country. Because the way it is now, nothing virtually is moving in Nigeria. And unfortunately, the president doesn't care.
All right, no, you wouldn't say he doesn't care. All right, he cares. That's why he's giving Nigerians the reasons why he wants to take his time. Money Mike, you heard Barrister Nosa Adams. He talked about the lacuna in the law, given the president all the time he needs to really get his acts together to give Nigerians the cabinet, so to speak.
Dear Wilson, I think I concur comprehensively and completely with the position that is being told by Barrister Nosa Adams in respect of the lacuna that is present in the Constitution. But let's not forget the fact that in the first coming of Mr. President under democratic governance, it took him about 6 months before the list of ministers came out and was released to the National Assembly. And one would have expected, having spent 4 years in power, and the second inauguration took place on the 29th of May, by now Mr. President had to have submitted his list to the National Assembly. Whether the Constitution does not provide a time frame or not, time is of essence for all of us in Nigeria and those investors that may likely want to show interest in investing in Nigeria, if any. Because as it stands, not until the cabinet is composed, those who may have genuine interest to invest in Nigeria will have to hold back their capital. The Nigerian Stock Exchange, as we speak, is not doing well at all, because the economy itself is not on its strong footing, and people who are doing businesses do not know the direction the next cabinet will be moving towards economically. As a nation, we do not need to continuously move using the snail speed. If Mr. President, according to what you have said, is really saying that he wants to appoint those people he knows, and I think that would be a very big and grave error. Shakespeare had written in one of his books that there is no art to find the mind's construction on the face. Be that as it may, I wish to use this opportunity to call on Mr. President not only to send the ministerial list to the National Assembly in good time, but he must be ready to have square pegs in square holes. And if he's telling us that it's because he wants square pegs in square holes, that's why he's taking this time, there may be Nigerians who want to say, okay, let's give him the benefit of doubt. But he has said he wouldn't want to invite strangers. We do not know what he means by invite strangers. Whether he wants to make sure his ministerial list is composed of all politicians, without technocrats, without having square pegs in square holes, or he doesn't want people like the Ibe Kachuku, who is not a core politician, and others, we don't know. But time will tell. Right. Time is of essence.
All right, time is of the essence. Obaye, you've heard both of them giving they gave their opening remark on this particular discourse, and everything seems to be hit on the lacuna in the Constitution. Do you want to blame the Constitution for this delay, or something urgent and drastic should be done about that segment or part of the Nigerian Constitution?
Thank you so much, my brother Wilson. Mine will not be too grammatic. I will not speak big English just as my two leaders have done. I will try to go down a little. The truth is that I don't really see the president to be blamed for the very just now, because let's forget about the Constitution. Let's also look at the emergence of these ministers. How Mr. President cannot just on his own wake up with list of ministers. It has to go state by state, community by community. So using Edo State as a case study, when we are for the very just now, getting a minister from Edo State at this point will be what the president has to sit down to think well, because of the present crisis between the governor and the former governor. The former governor, as we speak, still has what it takes to produce a minister in the state. While the governor, constitutionally, as we speak, also have the right to submit a name for the minister. So you can see that the president might not want to either offend Mr. A or Mr. B in trying to do that. So using Lagos State, so you can see that there are some hiccups in some places. But I don't want to use this one to say why is the president still has not come up with a ministerial list. But so also we must be factored to ourselves. The president is less than 100 days in office. Election sworn in May 29th, June 29th. We are yet to see July 29th. So to me, it's not yet what we should be complaining about. What we need to be complaining about now is the security nature that does not need the minister to talk about, that does not need the minister to discuss about. So Mr. President is, the way my leader said, for him to have accepted the name Baba go slow also goes to show that everything about him is in a slow nature. So to me, let's be patient. I'm also expecting something very different from the former. Because if a pastor or a native doctor come and tell me that the ministerial list from Edo is Mr. Mike Money Modesty, I will kick off whatever I have said. That is impossible, because Mr. Money Mike Modesty does not have the king in his back that will submit his name in Sanso Rock. That is just the truth. So you can still see that he's still going to be the Amechi in Rivers, he's still going to be the Shobole Obaseki in Benin, he's still going to be the Tinubu in Lagos. That will still either become a minister, confirm who becomes a minister in the said state. So the Nigeria Constitution, to me, has so many defects on issues like this. If you are giving the president that power, you would have also just given the entire leverage of getting it. But can you also do it like that? No, because he has campaign in each state, local government and world. So this is the time for leaders like this to benefit. So what they are doing now is how to see, who to lobby, who not to see, who to see, how to get it. Okay. And who are those that will lobby? Not the technocrats. The technocrats are not busy time politicians. But people you have that will still become ministers as we speak, out of the 36 or 37 ministers we are going to get, technocrats will be up to 4 or 5, because no leader want to make sure a technocrat grows, apart from people like Tinubu. I'm yet to see any other Nigerian leaders that want to make sure that somebody like Money Modesty, who was robbed in the immediate past election, grows up. They don't want you to grow. For you to have quoted Shakespeare goes to show that you read. And your leader knows about Shakespeare but don't know anything about it. So he already knows that if this man is giving this mantle of leadership, he's ruined. Okay. So he will not want to give. All right. So I'll just expect the same old cargo in this new cargo.
Oh, the same old cargo in this new cargo. Wow, what a catchy phrase. Now, from what he said it's not up to 100 days in office. The Nigerians shouldn't be apprehensive. Take a look at the time. They don't think at least the president is within the time frame of giving Nigeria the minister. Why the apprehension? Not up to 100 days.
I think that is the problem we have in this country. we don't want to move with the trend of other very advanced and developing countries. We are not developing. I made bold to say that. Because you don't need 100 days to appoint a minister. To send the list of ministerial nominees, one would expect the president to have, before inauguration, settle down himself and get the list of the people that can help him administer the affairs of this country, given the situation we find ourselves, even before its inauguration. Now, let me tell you, without holding brief for Obasanjo, in 1990, Obasanjo came in, it is called that Nigeria was virtually cut off from other committee of other nations. We were like a pariah nation, so to say. And when he came in, he brought in people who were not even politicians. He brought in the Ezekwesili, he brought in the Okojo Igweala. And before you know, in less than a year and a half, our external debt was almost virtually written off. So you don't need to bring in most appoint politicians. Then, in any case, I don't agree with my brother Abara when he says that the president doesn't have the leverage. The president has enough constitutional leverage to sit down and draw a list of those that will help him to work and deliver for this country. Because if you look at the constitution, he said the president shall appoint, may appoint the minister. He didn't say we go and consult with any political leader. No. So it is not that the president doesn't have the power, he doesn't have the tenacity. No, the president has got enough power, but it's just the will, the courage, the determination, the dynamism that the president should summon up to sit down and say, yes, this is the president I want that can deliver. You are so appointed. That is why in this country, the problem we have always had since this republic started is that everything is politicized.
Thank you so much.
Everything is virtually politicized. It's wrong. It will impact us. It will retard our development. That is why we find ourselves where we are today. Now, a power that is vested on the president to appoint ministers, he will have to go and be consulting with godfathers. For God's sake, he doesn't need godfathers to appoint or send a list of ministerial nominees to the National Assembly. He doesn't need it. And besides, the problem today, if we have a minister of police affairs, we can hold him accountable. If we have a minister of defense, he should be able to defend this country. But as we speak now, the president, I will tell you, is running out of time. Nigerians are becoming so impatient. That is why this whole and cry about ministerial is coming up. If not, because people want to see results, people want to see deliverables. And the way it is, the lack of the ineptitude that is being shown is what Nigerians are now crying about. But I want to tell you, if we want to get this done in this country, there is need, I say with all emphasis, there is need for the constitution to be taken a look at, and possibly this country to be restructured.
Right.
To be restructured.
Okay, restructuring. Now, see, zooming on what Obara said, he talked about politicking, and of course, Barrister Nusa Adams alluded to that also. Settlement of godfather, settlement of state issues and all that. Do you see that causing the delay in the list being given to the House?
I think I want to provide some further information to allay some assertions that have been mentioned here. There's a common saying that once beaten, twice shy. A president that took 6 months to put together a ministerial list in his first coming was also inaugurated once again on the 29th of May this year. June has gone, July is going. What make you think that people will not be agitated? Is it going to take us once again through the road it took us before, another 6 months or 1 year, because the Constitution did not put a time frame? Even the National Assembly is agitated. That is why the leadership of the Senate mentioned to the senators not too long ago that they were expecting the ministerial list very soon from Mr. President, which means pressure is also being mounted on Mr. President to ensure that he forwards the ministerial list in good time. Secondly, there is no provision, whether constitutional or legal, that says all the 37 ministerial nominees or thereabout that will come must come at once. There is no provision. If there are hiccups in some states, where political bigwigs cannot agree? Are we saying that that is the same case 100% in the federation? We must not shy away from the truth. This is already a failure on the part of Mr. President. Knowing too well that even immediately after his inauguration, all the political gladiators who may have interest in presenting political nominees for ministerial positions should have been given marching orders for him to say no later than 2 days after the inauguration of the National Assembly, I want to submit my ministerial list. What does it take? When such names come, they are forwarded to the security agencies to screen.
They have even screened them.
He may even decide to say, for every minister you want to nominate to me, ensure that that person is professionally grounded, has a lot of comparative advantage in his professional area. He can decide to say, in finance, this is what I want now. In budgeting, this is what I want. In works, this is what I want. These are the qualities. You cannot, for instance, make a doctor the minister of works. Or you make a lawyer, as he did in the case of Fashola, the minister of works, power, and housing. He also needs to have a rating into some of these ministries that were earlier collapsed into one. Power, housing, and works. That was just too big. And that was virtually not done at the end of the day. I wouldn't know whether he has quality advisors or he is not listening to them. Be that as it may, I am of the opinion that Mr. President has no excuse whatsoever. Whether he wants to have a binocular with which he will not penetrate to know the heart, or what is the content of the heart of whoever he wants to nominate or not, should not overdelay the system. There is a raging storm in this country. A lot of things are not working well. So, that he has decided to accept the nickname Baba Go Slow, it's not even a good omen. It's not a good omen at all. He may have good intentions, but the era he expressed them, the better. In that wise, I'm of the opinion that the party in power should prevail on Mr. President to do the needful. If it's only 3 states that have been cleared from his table, he should send the list. Nigerians will not heave a sigh of relief to say, okay, we are not expecting six months or 1 year before the list comes.
All right, still on 6 months, 1 year. This is almost the second month and counting. Well, Obari, now let's zoom into that statement. The people I know, that seems to be another angle that Nigerians are like agitated. The people you know. And from what you said, it's going to be the same old cargo in this new cargo. Now, that statement, is it really laden with meaning? What do you think may be the mindset of our president, the people I know?
Thank you so much, my brother Wilson. You know, one thing I will not bend away is to tell you the way things are. Not that telling you that President Buhari is good, you should know my take. It's not, I'm not one of President Buhari's fans. But the truth must be told that his nature, I'm an APC person, but Buhari's nature, Buhari is...
Our president is our president.
Sorry, yeah, my president, our president. Yeah. His nature is what we are expecting now. His nature is what Nigeria is passing through. So it's just like if somebody like when Osomole was a Edo State governor, you can also see that the template is also different. So a leader has a way of moving. For a man to have clapped when they call him Baba goes to tell you that he's slow in nature, he's slow in whatever he does. So, but the truth must be told on the issue of the people I know. In a state society, it's not supposed to be so. But in Nigeria, it's so. How is it so? President Buhari cannot, in his wildest dream, if he does it, maybe because he's on his last tenure, he can go away with it. But people will not be happy with it. If he wants to get let's use the last time, the last tenure. The ministerial nominee picked from Edo State was not known by the political class in Edo State. He was not a party person. I've been in politics nearly all my life. I don't know an MBA doctor, but he became a minister. Why? He was the last man standing with Buhari alone in his Buhari's office here. So when Buhari got it, Buhari knows him closely. So waiting for Oshobole Oko to pick for him was not welcome. I know what Dr. Inani, he called him. So even when people heard, no, but that was the person he knows. I get it now. So if Wilson Omasha also becomes the chairman, chief executive of a construction company tomorrow, I don't need the introduction to get to you any longer. So in Nigeria, sphere is the people they know. But in a state society, it's not supposed to be so. Citing from what my leader gave not quite long that Obasanjo called Okojo Iweala out of. So Buhari was somebody that is of the 21st century minded. You should know that getting Nigerians that are doing well in various places, he does not need somebody to tell him. With his phone, he can Google it. We already have a Nigeria that builds drones for America. A Benin man for that. I'm not sure Buhari has met with that man one-on-one. But in a same clan, that man is supposed to be here now helping Nigerians. He's like, does Nigeria forbid to build drones? I just watched one where Ghana now used drone to submit drugs to other hospitals. It's already working. If you can work in Ghana, that is trackable here. Why is Nigeria forbidding it? So, but that man, that Benin man that builds drone in America cannot become a commissioner, neither a minister in Nigeria. Because he does not know our leaders that are seated. But if he knows, then they will call him, or a good leader that knows he really wants Nigeria to be a better place, we'll go for him. We are yet to see a leader in Nigeria that really loves Nigeria. What we have there is the people love this man don't love the people. That is what is happening. Because if truly you love me the way I love you, you will not let me suffer. And what are we waiting for? What is happening? The money you want to pay there is not your own. Nothing. We bring up issues, and the way you are trying the issues shows to us love is not there. You can see that it has been breaking headlines. You post-screen it. Afenifere leaders that are murdered. Afenifere leaders. What of those that were murdered in Urio, raped in Asobe, killed in Okada here? The woman that the leg was cut off, it off ITV, people will not hear about it. But it was not breaking news. It was not headlines because of the person of the father of that woman. But Buhari has to call. Did Buhari call the woman's husband or the woman's husband that the leg was cut off? Our president. No, our president. No. You will understand it.
I'm all right now. It's like your emotion is going somehow. You know,
let me explain.
Watch your emotions before it derails.
No, I've always told you. The only thing emotion will not cause is when we want to talk about something. A personal issue. Right. Nigeria's issue, if you don't add emotion, it will look as if you are not a Nigerian. Okay. We are not talking about America here. We are talking about my own country. I'm a Nigerian. So if I don't have emotion towards it, it will look as if I'm not a true Nigerian. Okay. So the truth must be told. Yes. Where we are just now is who you know. If that man that lost the daughter, that the daughter was killed, if that man was not popular, Buhari will not call that person. But any other person, those people they've killed since morning, nobody will call the other person. So you can see that it's who you know. Okay. But he's still waiting for who he knows.
All right, now you just hold on. I'll come back to you. Just take this time out to just catch your breath and put your emotions under control so you will not go against the rules and regulations governing the airwaves. Whatever they're saying here is totally their own opinion. It has nothing to do with ITV Radio. Still zooming in on who I know. Barrister Nusa Adams, do you think that this will cause another palaver, so to speak, in the polity?
No, it is not going to. It's not going to cause any crisis or palaver, as you call it. It's only that the president should within the week. We will be told that by this week he will send the list. Let's pray that the list gets to the National Assembly by this week. But what I want to suggest, which is very, very important, and you must take special notice of this suggestion, as being propagated by so many Nigerians, is that let him submit the list of ministers along with the portfolios. He must submit the list of ministers along with their portfolios, so that the National Assembly is screening the ministers We now ask them their background and their capability to hold those positions, those portfolios. Because it will help him and it will help Nigerians. That is one. Two, as quickly as possible, we need to amend the constitution. If they are insisting that there must not be structural or fundamental changes in our polity, but let us quickly look at some lacunas in the constitution. We have a lot of problems inherent in the legal framework. The constitution will be amended so that it will expressly state how the time frame within which the president should submit the list of the ministerial nominee to the National Assembly and include putting the portfolios they are going to hold. Because, like my brother said, if you send a lawyer to the Ministry of Power, Housing and Works, you are sending him there to a very strange terrain. If you send a doctor as Minister of Defense, a medical doctor, to go to Ministry of Defense, you are sending him to a very strange terrain. So let us look at how to put professional, because the myriad of problems we are confronted with in this country need urgent and very speedy attention. Because to start with, that's why we are saying that Nigeria needs a 21st century president, a very dynamic, resourceful, young, vibrant, and a digital president that can sit down and on his own prepare a blueprint for his government. Because recently the allegation is that the cabal is holding the president hostage in Aso Rock. Unfortunately, how true that one is, I can't say, but that is the same song across the country, that the president is being held hostage. Now, it has extended to the godfathers now, holding the president hostage across the country. In virtually all the states now, the information we are hearing is that what is keeping the list is because the godfathers wants to impose candidates on each of the states. It shouldn't be so. We need the president, or our president should wake up. I don't want to. Yes, it may be well intentioned for this country, but the country is drifting towards the precipice, and he needs to wake up as quickly as possible, because he has been voted for, whether we like it or not. He's our president, and we must encourage him. We must let him know that he needs to work and salvage this country, and he must know that things are not just working as expected. Nigerians are dying, Nigerians are crying, Nigerians are yearning for a positive change that will impact on their life. A very positive change, and Nigerians don't want to hear any excuses at all. They just want to hear, they want to see things work for this country, for the good of all. Because take from north to south, east to west, Nigerians are under very severe and intense yoke. The yoke is pulling down the body of the entire nation, and we are drifting toward the precipice. And if we are not careful, I repeat, if we are not careful, this country will explode. The implosion that will happen will not do anybody any good. And unfortunately, the various states, the way it stands now, they are not ready to, should I say, play along. Even for those who are in the same party with the president, they are even tired of development, because he is not helping anybody. And because of that,
no, you wouldn't say he's not helping anybody, because he's doing his best. And he's
I'm not saying he's not doing. I'm not saying he's not doing his best. What I'm saying is his best is not just salvaging the myriad of problems we are confronted with. That is the truth, and it's the reality. You can't run away from it.
All right, but at least you admitted to the fact that he's doing his best. Now let's just leave it at that. I'll come back to you, Barrister Nosa Adams. Now he also extended or heaped the blame on the godfathers in each state of the federation. Are they the one really causing this drift or this drag, so to speak?
I don't want to completely alarm myself with that thinking that godfathers are the one drawing the hands of the clock backwards as far as the ministerial nominee is concerned. For me, anything that has to do with the ministerial nominee, I will leave it squarely on the table of Mr. President. He has the knife and he has the yam. Like I said before, if there are states, for instance, there are godfathers who are drawing the hands of the clock backwards, are we saying it's the same thing all over the federation? That there are no states where there are no complaints, that people have since submitted their names? If we needed 37 names and you already have up to 20, why not submit the 20? and give the same godfathers marching orders to say your list must get to me not on or before so date. If you do not, I will single-handedly pick a minister, because the Constitution did not give any responsibility to godfathers to nominate ministers to Mr. President. So he has the knife and he has the yam. So I do not want to subscribe here to the thinking that there's every godfather in Nigeria that is holding Buhari to ransom. Mr. President is the one who is holding Nigerians to ransom, as far as the ministerial nomination is concerned. That's my position.
All right. Your position. Now, before we commence our descent on this segment, we have to talk also on what is happening with the new minimum wage and, of course, compliance by government. Obaraye, godfather, not godfather, president, but the list is still not in the house yet. What do you think should be done? Should a marching order be given according to Money Mike Modesty?
Money Mike Modesty is speaking from the labor angle.
I spoke as a Nigerian. That's what I believe in. That's what I believe in. That is the truth.
My leader, yeah, will let you.
You know, godfather, but Money Mike wanted to interject. Okay, go ahead.
Still allow me to interject him. With all due respect to my brother Obaraye. He said I spoke from the labor angle.
Yeah.
I totally disagree. Let me quickly recall what he said earlier. When he said the last ministerial nominee that came from Edo State was not nominated by the governor of Edo State. Mr. President decided to choose, and he chose. And that was it.
Okay.
So Mr. President, who knows his onions,
Yes.
if he sees that his reputation is not going to be dragged in the mud as a result of godfatherism, has the capacity and propensity to say, I give you to so day, if you are not sending me, I make a choice of my own. And heavens will not fall.
All right, Obaraye, over to you.
He still spoke again like a labor the second, I didn't want to interject. I don't want him to laugh. Again, he lauded like a labor deputy. So, if he should go back to the archive. As a party person, I knew what Dr. Ianiwe went through in the hands of we politicians in Edo. For him not to have known us. I know I was snubbed on various meetings. But if he was one of us before he left, that wouldn't have happened. So the truth must be told.
All right, now you just hold on. You continue with your line of thought after this break.
TMI, every opinion counts.
Thank you so much for staying tuned. Now, Obaraye, the effect of the godfathers or the godfather effect in the ministerial nomination list.
Yeah, thank you. The reason why Nigeria is where it is today is not probably everybody's sin. It's 80%, 70% on the bulk of the godfathers. The way they pay their politics here. They don't have any other job. They wait every 4 years, bring out their money, then make sure they also take out times 10, times 50 on it. So until we have a selfless leader, a leader that would dare the godfathers, which is very hard. You know, history has not shown anyone has been forgiven that once dared the godfathers. 80% of today, so many were in jail, so many were assassinated, so many were killed. So daring the Nigerian godfathers is very hard. But that is not our way of going to. The truth is, do we have a president that really have what it takes to dare the godfather? Yes, we had.
We had.
Yes, we had.
Past tense.
Yes. Now we don't have. The name Buhari was supposed on its own be what people will be scared of. But the man has his own made that name, even a toddler is no longer scared. The first fight was Buhari is coming. Buhari is coming. Everybody was scared. And at the end, what happened? Now so it just reached. That is now the slogan. So, how can that type of person now dare the godfathers? I don't want us to always go far. Let's always use where we are now as a case study. Even somebody that is amongst us here has suffered the sins of godfathers. We should be factor to ourselves. The godfathers, they don't want anybody that is brilliant to grow. They don't. Our present governor has tried to uproot godfatherism. But as we speak now, the tsunami also disturbing, godfather fighting back day in, day out. So you can see that when you are also not trying to start fighting the government, you lost. focus. Because it takes money, it takes time, it takes focus to fight these people. So by the time you just, okay, let me just fight, it might take you your entire 4 years tenure in fighting Godfathers. And at the end of the day, you'll be nowhere to be found. So you can see most of the people, just let me dance with them so I can also walk. So President Buhari would have used that name, the general we know, in the first tenure, second tenure. So I don't see him, I don't see Buhari now coming to Edo to come and pick one Mr. Dosa Adams, which to me is fit for any job in this country, which to me people will celebrate, or money make modesty, which to me I will just, oh, a square peg is square, these people will not fail. I know if they fail, they won't come back to Edo. I know. Who are they going to pick again in Edo or in Delta? Somebody that has been in this fair since 1999. They are not coming to pick one Mr. Wilson Marshall in ITV because he's so eloquent, he can be, he can, no. They are also going to pick so that person again, it will remain amongst this set of people. They don't allow it go out.
So the Godfather figure is paramount in the list. You just can't shake it out.
No, you cannot. It goes with it. We must all accept the truth. He said, for ye shall know the truth, and the truth will set you free. Are you getting the politician? I'm telling you the truth. This is the reason why some of us are decided to also face another job is because we don't also want to respect Godfatherism. So it's better not to give me a job than to let me lie. Because if I was to be following the Godfather, I'm not supposed to be here. You go to the house in the morning to start cleaning car or do it. You must start talking. And what will you say? Lies. I saw Mr. Mike Modesty in Abuja. He was discussing about you. That just for him to listen. Yeah, by the time you're not ready to do that, they just see you as somebody that wants to fight against them. So you must be loyal to them to a fault. You must tell them how you want to eat, where you want to eat. Their loyalty is toward the doubt. In some cases, like the cases of Igige, they swear they usually swearing different rubbish.
Deities.
Yes, deities, just for you to remain loyal, just for you not to break the law. So and so many of our leaders are in. But must we continue like that? No. How are we going to do it? That was what we discussed when NEPA took the light. That we cannot discuss it.
Obaye, this is studio.
Yeah, it's true.
They shut us up. That is part of the Nigerian way.
All right. This talk can just go on and on. It can just go on and on, and so many things can just pop up in course of this discourse. Nigerians are saying one thing. We don't want it to be like the first tenure of Mr. President. This is his last tenure. The first tenure when the list was delayed for the first, second, third, fourth, close to 6 months. Nigerians were apprehensive. And when it came out eventually, they were like, thank God. Until they started saying things they were not happy with. And right now the president like saying, I'm going to give it to people that I know. That means maybe some of them in the past, he doesn't know them. And they're like, oh, that is the reason why we passed through what we passed through. What we want right now as Nigerians, good cabinet that will take us to the next level positively and say no to this delay. Everything must be done quickly, sharply, correctly for Nigeria to get to the next level positively to our El Dorado. Right now, Labour is crying. The federal government is saying, I am doing my best. Why some state governors are saying, look, we are not even in the scheme of things. That arrangement is just for you. All about the 30,000 Naira minimum wage, the rate of compliance. Some Nigerians are feeling the effect of it, while others haven't seen nothing. Barrister Nosa Adams, what do you feel about this debacle?
Well, it still boils down to our political actors that are not honest enough to tell Nigerians the truth. If you look at it, you will discover that an act has been enacted, we have a law, and ordinarily we should just seamlessly follow it up. Seamlessly. Because if the stages, the debacle has gone through, and eventually it was enacted into an act of the National Assembly and assented to, we ought to just go into implementation without any form of stories or crisis. But you will recall that so many states were crying that they don't have the resources to meet up with the overhead that will be consequent upon the enactment of that act. But because Nigerians, we are very good at preparing legal framework, but when it comes to implementation, where we normally derail, and it's not good for a country that wants to move fast. It's not good for a country that wants to truly develop. Do you know we have National Salaries, Income and Wages Commission? That very commission ought to have done a lot of research, look at the economic situation of the country, look at the income of the various states and that of the federal government. They will now come up with a framework with which the president and the National Assembly will now work with. But the way it is now, it appears that a law was made, typical of the country, where we are very good at making laws. We have all the laws you can think of in this country. I keep saying it. But when it comes to implementation, the crisis from lacuna will enter. Now look at it. The law has been enacted. What is wrong with implementing the law? That's what boils down to putting the right peg in the right hole. By the time Ngige, who is a medical doctor, was made a minister of labor, what do you expect for that kind of minister? So at the end of the day, there is nothing any state can do about it. It's already a law. We are all bound to operate under the confines of that law. The 30,000 minimum wage, which to me is even too small in the first place. Because if you look at the economic reality of today, that is not even anything to go by. Considering what our leaders have plugged up into economically. But to even implement it, they are very difficult. If the government of the various states and that of the federation can sit down and adjust their overhead, because the problem we have that most of the states are saying they cannot implement the law is simply because it will seriously overbloat their overhead. And if you look at what is consuming the overhead, is basically the running cost of the government. The running cost of the government vis-a-vis the take-home of the political leaders. Because by its nature, the present state of government is very expensive. And the way it is practiced in this country will even make it more expensive. So let them cut down the running cost of government so that they can meet up with workers' salary. The wages, they can't run away from it. It's inevitable, it's already a law. But what they are doing now is to delay. And I can assure you, I can tell Nigerian workers, delay is not denial.
All right, delay is not denial. Money Mike, Labour devotee, you are at the forefront of this battle. And of course, we spoke about this some months ago. From what is happening, talking about the degree of compliance by government as Labour failed.
Well, let me now inform you and inform those who are watching us right now that though my brother has said delay is not denial, government is delaying, and as I speak, they are denying the workers a new minimum wage. There are many things that you guys may not be aware of. After that bill was assented to by Mr. President, April this year, it's expected the law or the act has taken effect. There was a major omission or action that did not take place even before Mr. President assented. One would have expected that after conclusions had been made, federal government would have also set up a committee. Instead of the Rwanese committee, the committee that needed to have been set up then was a committee of government side and the Joint National Negotiating Committee, National JNC. The National JNC is composed of core civil service unions in the federal establishment. In the state, we also have what we call State Joint Negotiating Council. The Negotiating Council has two sides, government side and the trade union side. Let it not be said that 30,000 minimum wage has not taken effect. In the private sector, in the organized private sector, it's already been implemented. It's just only in the public sector that most governments in the Federation have not taken the pain to take action. And they are waiting for the outcome of the negotiation on what we call salary relativity. The increase was approximately 67%. And we had expected that 70% should run from grade level 1 to grade level 17 across board. But the federal government is saying no. Out of that 67%, they only go to effect it for level 1 to level 6. And I tell you, if you put the population of workers between level 1 and level 6 in this federation, you may be shocked we may not get up to 1,500 or 2,000 workers.
In this federation?
You may just be shocked. Because virtually all the states of the federation, they have not been doing employment, and even when they employ, they no longer even services of these low cadre officers are even being outsourced in some of these states. They are being outsourced. Federal government is saying out of 67%, they are going to pay 9.5% to grade level 7 to 14 out of 67%. And grade level 15 to 17, federal government is saying it will only be able to pay 5% out of 67%. What I want to say now becomes my personal opinion. But the most disappointing aspect of the whole negotiation to me is that even Labour is acceding to 67% from level 1 to 6 and asking for 30% out of 67% for level 14, for level 7 to 14, and 25% for level 15 and above. And all these ones you put together, it's like nothing is coming into the minimum wage at all. Because government is still going to take its own taxes and many other things that go with them. So you now discover that the market women and all those who provide services have since jacked up their prices on hearing 30,000 minimum wage that has even not even come. So federal government is saying even with the coming down that the labor people, the JSC has also done, that it is not ready to go above 9.5% for 7 to 14 and 5% for grade level 15 to 17. That they had already made provision for 160-something billion in the budget for this year for federal workers, and they will not go above that.
Okay.
If all said and done, like I said, delay is already there, and denial is already there.
Obaraye, you've been listening and you kind of, there was a smile that just flickered through your face. And I asked Mike modestly a question if Labour has failed. From what he said, it's like Labour is beginning to toe the line of the federal government, but they're still saying no, they want to bring it further down. Can you say this is a failure in the part of Labour?
Yes, it's a failure in the part of Labour, it's a failure in part of government. You can see the way it was like putting the fish that was on the floor, put inside the water. You can see the way Mike digested and divulged this minimum wage issue. So I've learned so much, but the truth must be told. Before we came in, it was the issue of minimum wage. I told you before, I said it was politicized. It was election period. I get it now, it was politicized so that people would vote for us. That was why we said so. Are you getting it?
People vote for you guys in your party.
Yeah, it was.
You just said that.
It was politicized, my brother. I'm a call by you, so so if it was not politicized, my party should prove me wrong by quickly accepting to what they said. Why the dragging, the foot dragging, when this is what you said. So it's not supposed to also take time the way the ministerial list is taking time. You said so before now, they voted for you. So it's also set ball rolling because all this one still boils down, the money is not yours. Are you not going to tell me the senators, House of Rep members, that these people we said this for, voted for, are you going to tell me that their money that you are going to give them, the 17, 30, 12 millions that are coming, are you getting it now?
All right, now you just want to know, Barry, I'll come back to you after this break. Is it a failure? Is it politics? Has the government failed Labour? Has Labour failed their people? All these and more we'll take a look at after this break. Do stay tuned.
The number of street kids is growing by the day. Many are exposed to the vagaries of life, including death. You can do something to rescue these innocent souls roaming our streets. Be the change today. Support an orphanage. This message is brought to you courtesy Independent Television.
Thank you so much for staying tuned. It's all about the national minimum wage and the degree of compliance by government. Obaye, we warned you before we went on that break. Is this a failure on the part of labor and, of course, government?
Yeah, I think, as I said before, I will still repeat and stand same. I said it's a failure on the part of government. It's also a failure on the part of the labor. The reason I've said a failure on the part of the government is that nobody forced government to sign their pact, and it was signed. So to me, what would a follow-up would have been immediate implementation. Then also for the side of the labor, you've negotiated for level 1 to 6. The way our leader said, just on 67%. Are you also telling me the people up there are not also the same workers, just like the level 1 to level 6? So if we are to negotiate for level 1, we should also negotiate up to level 15, 17, not try to foot drag this one, this one, that, this one, this. So, because with time, the level 6 will also become level 15. With time, the level 1 will also grow. So, it was better to have done all. So, you can see that it was a failure from side A, side B. To me, both still boils down to bad leadership. When you have people that don't have what it takes to lead in the health of affairs. I've never heard anything about labor again. I've never. Labor has become something new. When you say that, people ask, what is labor? I get it now. But you will not hear them speak again until when the issue that concerns one of them comes up. Which is not supposed to be so. You did all, we are shutting down the nation, we are doing that, we are doing this. And by the time people call you to the back door, that is the end of your shouting. Just for your own stomach sake. Forgetting that we have other people down there that don't have people that will shout for them, believing that Mr. Mike was supposed to shout for us, but now they are no longer shouting. So you can see it's still bad leadership. Until Nigeria gets it right, my brother, both the Labour, Airways, Nepal, everybody is still going to be doing what you people call Obubi. Nigeria is not yet we are yet to see. I said, we still discuss today, people call about Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela is dead, but people still call his name because of the good things he did. People again, you will still tell about family and one-on-one, people call Azikiwe. I get it now. People call great men. Tell me, our present crop of leaders today, what are they going to be remembered for in the next 50 years? Nothing but corruption. Nothing but go slow. Nothing but unseriousness. Nothing but blackout. Nothing but Fulani herdsmen killing. So they should again, there is still time for them to put their name in the sands of time, so that their great-grandchildren, when they mention their name, to say my name is Mr. Chukwunedu Omasho, they say, hope you are not related to Wisin Omasha. He say, yes, that is my father or great-grandfather. Oh, my friend, sit down here. Your father was indeed a nice person. Not to call your name and people will say, God forbid, walk away because your father came, he saw, but he was not able to conquer.
All right, before we call it, because our time it's almost up. He talked about politicizing everything. He talked about it's all about politics. Has politics really ruined the labor and of course their power to negotiate?
I don't want to subscribe to the idea of this later day negotiation. I don't want to subscribe to that idea at all, because there was a tripartite committee, and the committee met for months, and ordinarily one would have expected that committee to work out the smallest details on how to implement the minimum wage. Because we are talking of the life of the Nigerian workers here. And after that meeting, the law was enacted. Whether we like it or not, it's already a law. And if we are a country that is not as lawless as we are, so to say, once a law is enacted, what is just left is implementation. I don't know what is hard in implementing a law that has been so enacted, because the law was enacted basically on consensus. We all agree that yes, workers' take home is so small, it's just too small for the reality of today, that we should please increase it, move it up for their little comfort. And it was taken to 30,000. So the details also have been worked out at that level of negotiation before the law was enacted and signed into an act. Now the law has been enacted. So my own take is, whether you like it or not, whether politics comes in or not, the law must be implemented. And all those states who are saying they cannot afford to take the financial burden of the law's implementation should just go and restructure and prioritize their programs so as to accommodate the minimum wage. There is no two ways about it. It's already a law and it is compulsive.
It's already a law and it's compulsive, and nobody, very few are complying. Money Mike Modesty, has politics really eaten deep into labor? Hence, the negotiative power has been eroded.
Well, I wouldn't want to say whether it is politics. I think on the side of those who are negotiating right now, organized labor negotiated 30,000 minimum wage. A subset is in charge of this further, what we call the relativity negotiation.
Yeah.
And like I said, personally, my heart bleeds to continue to hear that subset, instead of talking of 67% across board, is busy itself with reducing drastically what ought to be. But no matter how they go about it, all I am saying is that it is not uhuru, and it is not going to be uhuru for the Nigerian public sector worker. They should not expect anything tangible. That is it.
All right. Thank you so much, Money Mike Obalaye. 30 seconds advice to labor and government, briefly.
Thank you so much, my brother. I want to ask yours, who negotiated that of the senators? Who negotiated that of the House of Assembly members? Who negotiated that of the governors? That they collected 500 million, the money they want for security vote. Nobody negotiated them. Now, people sitting down to negotiate more numbers of workers, Nigerian workers, and the US people are for dragging. If truly our leaders are sincere to themselves, what concerns a present governor with the sum of over 500 million monthly, and people around you are hungry? So to me, truly, if you want to live for time, we should not forget that it is better to speak the truth and remain loyal for our people to remember you.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. Our time is up. I appreciate a wonderful analysis. We'll keep on watching. I'll keep reporting back to you. Let's see if relativity, what was it called again?
Salary
relativity will take place in full effect. Bye for now.